Welcome everybody, Eugene for you to eat. And I got something good for you to eat. I got something that's going to help you lose weight. What is it? Pizza! I know, I gained a lot of weight from eating pizza the old way. I'm going to show you a new way to do it that's going to be heart healthy, because I suffered from high blood pressure for years and I want to maintain healthy blood pressure, healthy cardiovascular system, plant-based food. I'm going to show you a great plant-based pizza. I'm not going to show you my recipe for my plant-based cheese today, but we're going to get onto that here. It's a nutritional yeast-based cheese. It's so good. It's got enough garlic in it to kill Dracula. We're going to use a potato crust. Flour is processed by these spinning blades, and that, when you consume it, spikes your blood sugar a little bit here, okay? Even if it's whole wheat flour. Dr. Grieger says you want to lose weight, you need to deflour the diet. So I can show you a way you can still enjoy pizza using a tater crust. It's real simple. We're just going to take some potatoes that I cooked in the Instant Pot, threw them in the refrigerator overnight. I'm going to nuke them back up a little bit here in the microwave, get them a little bit warm, mush it down. We're going to add a little tapioca flour that's going to help bind it together, kind of help it stay as one crust here. I recorded that yesterday and it was a success. It was the first time I'd made that, and thumbs up, great success. So here's where I'm at in my weight loss journey. I haven't weighed myself here lately. Like I said, I completely gave up the vino, about a week ago. I just said, no, I'm not going to have this anymore. I'm going to hit my weight goal of 159 pounds or less, okay? I'm not going to stop until I hit that. How am I going to do it? Plant-based eating, 2 meals a day, breakfast and a big lunch, and then a period of fasting. Nothing at night. That's where I gained all my weight all these years. At night, that's time to start drinking, start eating, drink some more, and sit on my butt and watch a movie or something. I'm going to stay busy now in the evenings instead of just sitting on my butt guzzling wine, eating fattening pizza. I'm going to eat some really good plant-based pizza. So tater pizza coming up. So we're going to top the pizza with some tomatoes, sliced tomatoes, some spices. I'm going to use my plant-based cheese. And right now, this is my treats here. This is Big Chunk. Got him from, he was a rescue. I do some dog training on the side here. They send their problem childs with me. And this guy here was rather aggressive at one time, and he's nothing but just a big old sissy now. Here you go. And this is, I call her Baby G. This is Miss Trixie. Hey, Bocephus, come here. Boo. Come here, Boo. And this is Bocephus. I got him from the pound. I got him during the height of the COVID pandemic there. They were on lockdown. They said Bocephus was a medium-sized dog. Yeah, medium my ass. Come on in, tater crust pizza. Come on. All right, so let's get started with our dough. I cooked these last night, these potatoes last night. And what do we got? Get the old trash bowl ready for it. Okay, so I'm just going to rip off the skins. Best that I can. Come on, get out of here. There we go. Put that in the bowl. Come on, quit hiding. Now, I've always loved making my pizza using more traditional flour. And being plant-based and being somewhat health conscious, I grind my own grains, and I used flour. Where do I keep it here? It looks a little bit, it looks more just like flour, like your everyday whole wheat flour. It's a very coarse grain, but as well with it, since it's processed by spinning blades, kind of ups up the old glycemic index there and can spike the insulin. And since I'm not wanting to spike the insulin, let's take a look at this tater crust thing here. And I think the cool thing about the potato crust here is you can eat potatoes just to your coming out your ears, and it's not going to make you pleasingly plump or fat. So some bits of this potato here is hot and some bits of it are a little bit cooler. Just nature of me throwing these big chunks in the microwave to warm it up a little bit. And I'm not too worried about some of the skin being in there. As long as I get fed, that's all that matters here, okay? Let's throw that in there. Let's crumble it up. Crumble, 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 crumble. Ow, 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 ow. So I've adopted a new hero, Dick Van Dyke, the crusty old fart himself, 97 years old. He was an alcoholic for 25 years. Of course, that's really nothing to be proud of, but hell, he made it to 97. So maybe there's hope for me, you know, that all that hard drinking I was doing certainly wasn't going to add days to my life, and let's hope it's not going to take away a bunch, right? Now let's go ahead and add a little tapioca starch to it. That tapioca starch is going to work just like cornstarch. It's going to help thicken it up and help it hold together. Don't want to put too much of that in there, because if I do, it's going to be like rubbery tater stuff here. And just get on in there. I'm going to get on in there with my hands and get rid of all the lumps I can find. And just harken back to my days of being a little kid. I'm just a big old kid now. Now let's get this here. And you know what? If this here falls apart a little bit, I'm not too worried about it, am I? Mash, 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 mash. So I took 2.5 decent-sized russet potatoes to make the crust, and this is going to be my lunch and my dinner. I'm just not going to eat after this here. It's hey Google, what time is it?
It's 12:58 p.m.
So it's going on about 1 p.m. So I'm going to be eating definitely by 2. And then that's it for the day. And I think we've got, I didn't need to add any extra water here. Let me well no, I'm going to get it all mushed up again here soon. And we're going to eyeball for something about this size here. Come on. Parchment paper. Got my little toaster oven preheating at 450. Got it on the convection setting. We're going to cook it for about 15 minutes. We're going to flip it. We're going to top it. And we're going to go. I'm going to say 2.5 taters. It's going to make me a righteous pizza. Not me, but it's going to make a righteous pizza for me. How about that? All right. Now, I don't think that I'm going to miss not having anything in my tater. If you feel that you want to add some more flavor to it, hell, go ahead and throw in some thyme, throw in some oregano, whatever. I'm gonna put my little bit of thyme and oregano in with my tomatoes. And it doesn't behave like a traditional dough would. I like to just start smooshing it down in the center and work it out. And I just kind of use my fingers here to work it out. I'm going to work a little bit of a crust ring around it. Now I'm going to use Mama's tater masher. Kind of shape it a little bit more and try to compact it so it stands a little bit more of a chance of staying together when I'm ready to eat it. So I got my little toaster oven at 450. We're going to pop that in there for at least 20 minutes. All right, so let's get these tomatoes cut for my tomato sauce. Now, if you're going to try this at home, put any toppings you want on it. Me, I love the old pizza margherita. Got my Nooch-based cheese here we're going to put on it. Tomatoes, some oregano, some thyme, some crushed red pepper. And we're going to mess it up with some greens. And it's going to be good like that, I promise, okay? So let's get our tomatoes going here. Now you can slice these bad boys any way you want. So I'm slicing this thing here, oh, that's about 1/4 inch thick. And save the juice. You want that juice from your tomato to stay in there, because that's going to cook down. That's going to give it that flavor. I normally use my propane pizza oven that I've got outside, and I'm going to experiment with it with the potato here, potato crust version. My propane powered pizza oven, I can cook a pizza in about 2.5 minutes. And I mean, that gets it from the uncooked raw dough state to a perfectly crisp, blackened, just blackened in just a couple of little areas here. Looks like something that came out of one of those high temp wood-fired ovens in Italy or whatever. Now, I used to go to a restaurant called the Grotto, and they would make their pizza margherita, and they would just slice up the tomatoes. It wasn't a pizza sauce, it was just sliced tomato. And I reckon in Italy, there's quite a few versions of pizza where they don't use the crushed sauce. Now, a lot of people like the canned tomatoes because it's consistent. It's always available. Year round, you've got them at their peak of flavor. Let's get all that juice in there, because that juice is going to be flavor. And this old man's going to savor the flavor. All right, so we've got our tomatoes here. Going to hit it with some oregano. A little bit of ground thyme. And a little bit of crushed red pepper. Not much. This stuff here is hot, boys and girls. And we're just gonna let it sit, let it soak up all the flavor from the spices. All right, so now I'm just gonna wait on this convection oven to do its magic on my potato crust here. And then I'm gonna go outside and I'm gonna pick me some greens from my garden. I'm gonna pick me some greens from my garden, and we're just gonna chop up those greens and just mess this pizza up here. So, hold on. All right, we got some greens here, and we're gonna top our meal off with some greens. I wish my basil was a little bit further along here. That would go really good on a pizza, but we're gonna let them grow a little bit more here. I've got some radish here. I'm gonna put a couple of these here because I want this to grow out a little bit more. And the bonus with the radishes, I get radishes growing down there. I've got, I think this is collard greens. I don't remember. I got several bags of seeds. We're gonna have some of that, and then this here's the baby kale. So let's get to munching. The pizza cheese here, my nutritional yeast-based cheese. Say that 15 times fast, huh? So what I do is I take me about a half a bulb of garlic, about a good 5 fat cloves of garlic, throw it in here, good handful of walnuts, pop it in there, about a third of a cup of nutritional yeast. You can go with less if you want, more, just eyeball it. It's not rocket surgery or brain science. I'll put about a tablespoon of tapioca starch in it. That way, when it cooks, it gets hot, it thickens up, it gets a little bit more like cheese. I put a little dash, and not much, of xanthan gum in it. That way, that helps it get nice and thick and creamy and ooey gooey. Then what else do we put in it? I put about a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar in it, and soy milk. Blitz it up, check it out. It can be a little bit. Okay, now this has been in the Frigidator and it's not moving. Okay, and that's about perfect. But if you blitz it up and it's not refrigerated, a little bit runny is going to be absolutely fine. Because when you cook it in the oven, it's going to puff up a little bit and it's going to get thick. It's going to taste good. And let's see what we got here. And this is what it looks like after about 17 minutes. Let's see what we can... Nope, that is not working. What I want to do is flip it. Let's see how we can flip it without ripping it. One, two, three, four. Got him! Let's top our pizza, get this bad boy cooking, okay? I can and I have eaten pizza 7 nights a week. Yes, I'll change it up from tomato base to a pesto base. I'll make a pizza marinara with none of the quote-unquote cheese on it. Let's just say I'm a pizza addict. And I'm going to put about half of this on there because that's flavor. You know what? I don't know nothing. I'm just going to put all of it on there. And here's my quote-unquote nutritional base cheese. Just plop it on there. It's got enough garlic in it to kill Dracula, okay? Gotta be good. All right, So let's pop this back in our scorching hot oven for about 15 minutes more. Hey Google, set timer 15 minutes. And when it gets closer to that 15 minutes, I'm going to turn on the broiler on this here and try to crisp up that nutritional yeast cheese there. Oh, it's going to be so good. Hold on, we got about 15 minutes more we're going to be eating, okay? Then my little trip to the garden for some greens. We're ready there. Now to go with it, I love pickled vegetables. Salt isn't so good for us. It's not good for my high blood pressure. It's not good for anybody's high blood pressure. Or it's not good for your blood pressure. Let's put it that way. And they're finding the people who eat the most pickled vegetables or the most pickled foods, whatever, have higher rates of gastric cancer. In South Korea, they eat a boatload of kimchi. I love kimchi. It doesn't love our innards. They have the highest cancer rate, gastric cancer rate on the planet, and they're attributing it to the consumption of kimchi. What's the moral of the story? Go very easy on the kimchi, and go without it. So there's good parts of kimchi, the probiotics, the fact that it's a fermented food is really good for you. It's all the salt in it that's not so good for you. So I make my own pickled vegetables, and we're gonna do a show on that where I'm gonna make a whole batch of it. I'll take beets, slice them up, a little bit less than 1/4 of an inch thick. And then I'll take a solution of white vinegar and 1/3 white vinegar, about half white vinegar, half filtered water. Throw my vegetables in. I'll throw in some black peppercorns. I'll throw in some bay leaves. I'll chop up some jalapenos, put it in there, some serrano peppers in there, and let it sit even just a couple of days, and I've got pickled vegetables. Throw them in the fridge. They keep, and they go great with my pizza. So what I do is I have one container that I have my beets in. I'll throw in some sun-dried tomatoes when I'm cooking. Let that soak up some of the pickle juice. And then I have another container where I'll have whatever peppers I got. I'll buy some sweet peppers. If I can find some shishito peppers. Throw that in there. Some banana peppers, Anaheim peppers, poblano. And I have some pickled stuff with my pizza. It's good like that, okay? Now we just got to wait for this oven to hurry up and do its thing. Yep, there's my dirty old convection oven there cooking along here. You can see that the quote-unquote cheese is starting to rise, get a little bit of a crust on it. Ooh, it looked good like that. Let's all right, and there is my lunch and dinner. All right, so let's see what we got here. Doesn't that look good? That looks good. All right, let's see if it's stuck to my pizza pan here. There's a little part of it sticking. Oh, look at that. It came right off. Just a little bit of it stuck. Oh, and that looks so good. That looks good enough to eat, don't it? Now, that's what I'm going to be doing to it here in just a minute. Okay, now for me, it's not pizza if I don't put some really good balsamic vinegar on it. Like I said, we're going to put some greens on it. Now, I'm not a spokesman for any particular brand of non-alcoholic beverage or whatever, But this is Carbach IPA. And I used to like suck down a whole bunch of their Hopadillo IPAs way back in the day. And for a non-alcoholic version, this isn't bad. It's a little bit higher in calories than I'd like to get. Partake makes an excellent non-alcoholic IPA that is just the bomb. But I got to get off my butt and drive a good ways to get it, or order it online. And I'm not that organized nowadays. I'm going to get myself organized more to be sure and have that. So let's take a bite of this here. There's no surprise in what the crust tastes like. It tastes like pretty much nothing. The flavor is coming from the spices, the balsamic vinegar on top, the greens, and all of that. I can eat this. Oh man. And being a potato crust with nothing else in it, no muss, no fuss. I love sun-dried tomatoes. Like I said, I soak them in my pickled beet solution, and it's just so good. Tart. I'm having difficulty reliably finding salt-free sun-dried tomatoes. For whatever reason, they want to throw salt on it or some sort of chemical on it. I just want food. I don't want all this crap that these people think that they got to put on food. That is so good. It's still very hot. I found with the pizza that I make this way, just with the sliced tomatoes, it tastes better when it cools down just a little bit. You don't want it just like scorching hot. So I have not given up on my weight loss journey. You don't either, okay? I want to thank everybody who's helped me out on this journey here. Dr. Emil Solis in Spring, Texas, who got me started on this journey. Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn, Mike Grieger, Barnhart, Michael Clapper, all the plant-based doctors, High Carb Hannah. Hey, let's even give Mommy Tang some love here. We're going to be doing some Korean-inspired dishes, too, from watching her do her show. So, my last video, I said that I was going to slow down on the wine. That didn't happen. I was drinking a bottle of wine a day sometimes, and that's not a recipe for good health, and that's not a recipe for weight loss, okay? I mean, I was having 2 meals a day, so what I'm going to be doing here from this point on is ride the wagon. I do listen to my Willie Nelson 8 tracks, if you know what I mean there. I got my non-alcoholic beer. That's all I need. I'm fine with that. I have 2 meals a day now for the most part. Last night I had pizza. Go figure. But for the most part, I'll have breakfast, which usually is going to, and I'm going to show you a real cool recipe that I make there. I'll take oatmeal. I take some of my oat flour, and I make like I call it a baked oatmeal, a breakfast cake or whatever. Throw in a bunch of fruit, apples or blueberries. Cook that up. That's my breakfast. Now I'm having my lunch. Mommy Tang has really gotten me into a Korean food kick. It's very healthy. The main thing for me, since I want to watch my blood pressure, is I want to go very easy on the salt. Now, Dr. Esselstyn said it's okay if you go, with a little bit of salt and some of that junk and condiments, but you really want to be sparing because, like me, I'll guzzle the condiments or whatever. Got to go real easy with that. And there's one thing that Dr. Grieger talks about is how fermented soy, miso paste, doesn't appear to harm the arteries, doesn't appear to raise blood pressure. So if I want that little bit of salty taste, and as well we'll throw in some umami taste with it as well, I use miso paste. I haven't checked my blood pressure lately. I'm sure it's good. It's not great. Back when I wasn't drinking and I was following this here, about a year or so back, my blood pressure was low. I was like, oh my God. I mean, I was like 103/68. So I want to kind of get back into those days. From what I hear, low blood pressure isn't so much an issue, provided you're not feeling dizzy, moving around. So I want to thank each and every one of you for watching. Check the link down below on my website. I'll have a printable recipe for you. Give me a week or so to do it here. I got a few other irons in the fire, but I'll get a printable recipe online for it. If you got any questions about this here, I'll put a link to my favorite balsamic vinegar down below there. And thanks for watching.